Good morning. Today we will discuss dengue. Dengue is the most common arthropod-borne viral infection in humans. Over 100 million cases occur every year in the tropics, with over 10,000 deaths from dengue hemorrhagic fever. Dengue is caused by a flavivirus and is found mainly in Asia, South America, and Africa, although it has been reported from USA and more recently in Italy. Four different antigenic varieties of dengue virus are recognized, and all are transmitted by the daytime biting Aedes aegypti, which breed in standing water in refuse dumps in inner cities. Aedes albopictus is less common transmitter. Humans are infective during the first 3 days of the illness, which is called the viremic stage. Mosquitoes become infective about 2 weeks after feeding on an infected individual and remain so for the rest of their lives. The disease is usually endemic. Heterotopic immunity between serotypes after the illness is partial and it lasts only a few months, although homotype immunity is lifelong. Incubation period of dengue is 5 to 6 days following the mosquito bite. Asymptomatic or mild infections are common. There are two clinical forms of dengue. First is classic dengue fever. Classic dengue fever is characterized by the abrupt onset of fever, malaise, headache, facial flushing, retrobulbar pain which worsens on eye movement, conjunctival suffusion, and severe headache and backache, which is a prominent symptom. Lymphadenopathy, petechiae on the soft palate, and skin rashes may also occur. The rash is transient and morbilliform. It appears on the limbs and then spreads to involve the trunk. Desquamation occurs subsequently. Cough is uncommon in dengue. The fever of dengue subsides after 3 to 4 days. The temperature returns to normal for a couple of days and then the fever returns. Together with the features that have already been mentioned, but this time milder fever. This biphasic or saddleback pattern is considered characteristic for dengue. Severe fatigue, a feeling of being unwell, and depression are common for several weeks after the fever has subsided. Dengue hemorrhagic fever is a severe form of dengue fever and is believed to be the result of two or more sequential infections with different dengue serotypes. It is characterized by capillary leak syndrome, thrombocytopenia, hemorrhage, hypotension, and shock. It is a disease of children and has been described almost exclusively in Southeast Asia. The disease has a milder start, often with symptoms of an upper respiratory tract infection. which is then followed by the abrupt onset of shock and hemorrhage into the skin and ear, epistaxis, hematemesis, and melena, known as the dengue shock syndrome. This has mortality of up to 44%. Serum complement levels are depressed, and there is laboratory evidence of consumptive coagulopathy. Diagnosis of dengue involve isolation of dengue virus by tissue culture in sera obtained during the first few days of illness, rising antibody titers on neutralization, hemagglutination inhibition, ELISA or complement fixing antibodies in sequential serum samples is most specific test. Blood counts will show leukopenia and thrombocytopenia. Treatment of dengue is supportive treatment with adequate analgesia and fluid replacement. For the purpose of treatment, patients are divided into three groups, with group A with no warning signs go for outpatient management, and those who are having signs of severe dengue or coexisting conditions like pregnancy, infancy, diabetes mellitus, poor social situation, old age, and renal failure, they go to inpatient management as group B, and those who have severe leakage with shock and or fluid accumulation with respiratory distress, severe bleeding, or severe organ impairment go to group C for inpatient management. We should avoid steroids, should not give platelet transfusion for a low platelet count, do not give half normal 0.45% saline, and do not assume that IV fluids are necessary. Do tell outpatients when to return, do recognize the critical period, closely follow and monitor fluid intake and output, vital signs and hematocrit level. Early recognition of shock is vital. Colloids can be administered for refractory shock. Do give whole blood for clinically significant bleeding. In outpatient management, fever control, prevention of dehydration, prevention of spread of dengue to other household, and watching for warning signs is of paramount importance. Warning signs include severe abdominal pain or vomiting, red spots, bleeding from nose or gums, hematemesis, black tarry stools, drowsiness, pale, cold or clammy skin, and difficulty breathing. If there are warning signs, important aspects are to obtain baseline complete blood count, monitor intake output and vital signs, and maintaining adequate oral fluid intake. If the patient is clinically stable and no change or minimal change in hematocrit, you can continue crystalloids, recheck hematocrits, and if the patient becomes serious, you can go to group C management. In case of compensated shock, you will do these steps which is of some postgraduate level, but you should know that there is a group C with compensated shock that should be managed with fluid monitoring and adequate assessment periodically for the treatment of his problem. Patient in hypotensive shock will need colloids Recheck of hematocrit periodically and IV fluids in a stepwise manner with adequate fluid intake and urine output ensured during the hypotensive shock. Prevention of dengue. Travelers should be advised to sleep under impregnated nets, but this is not very effective as the mosquito bites in the daytime. Topical insect repellents should be used. Adult mosquitoes should be destroyed by sprays and breeding sites, for example, small stagnant water pools, should be eradicated. There is no effective vaccine for dengue. Thank you so much. That is it regarding dengue.